Hey there, folks. Welcome back to WWE2K15. I'm the Serious JG, and I'd temporarily forgotten that the music that I shut down on the jukebox actually plays before the game loads your settings. It picks a song. So I got to listen to one of my least unfavorite tracks for a bit before the game remembered, oh, he hates all the music in this game. Anyway, as I recorded this, I have put the first of my Mark Henry videos public, and actually got hit with a copyright violation on one of them, which was odd. I was like, well, I thought if there was going to be a problem, there'd be a problem with all of them. And I'd heard, though never officially in the WWE channel that I could point to as seeing you said this, but I've always heard WWE doesn't really go after copyright on YouTube, at least now. They can change their minds at any time. But that the sort of internal thought process at WWE is that, well, people see our stuff on YouTube, it generates interest in the product, which is why a lot of companies don't go after it, or will allow copyright infringement to happen, but will place ads on it. But apparently the footage of Mark Henry, and he superplexes Big Show when the ring collapses, which is, I thought originally they did that spot years before with Brock Lesnar and Big Show. Could be wrong about who was involved. But, yeah, the actual footage of it, from, one of the montages, triggered my video to be blocked in all countries before I'd even made it public. When it was still private and waiting to be made public, it was showing as blocked. And then I clicked the button to acknowledge copyright, because normally I see matched content and you just ignore it and it's not a problem. All my Tales of Vesperia stuff has ads on it because the actual publisher of the game just puts ads on it if it's their stuff, and I've never fought because, they're right, it's their game. But for the WWE, it'd have been the same thing. They just say, oh, a possible content match, and you can go in and dispute it, but I don't usually bother with it. I just ignore it because it says, your account is not being adversely affected or whatever. And of course, I had a couple of Fallout videos were blocked in Germany, but nowhere else, which I never quite got. But these, this was blocked everywhere, and I went and acknowledged it, and I was preparing to go in and edit out the offending footage and just put in a title card to say. And then I was like, I'm playing with fire here because I do this. Anybody who watches it could argue that, oh, he knows he's violating copyright, because I was going to put up a title card over the offending footage that was going to say, for some reason, this particular piece of WWE archival footage triggered a copyright block, but nothing else did. Go figure. And then I was like, well, if I do that, then isn't that tantamount to admitting I know I'm using copyrighted material and I'm getting myself in trouble? And I don't know that anybody Google Overlords actually watches these videos when they're flagged for copyright. But either way, I was getting ready to do that, but then I just clicked acknowledge copyright, and I was getting ready to delete the video anyway. And now, as I understand it, as I record this video, I think it's viewable with all that content in there. And if it turns out that it's not, then everything I'm saying right now is wrong, and I'll have to edit it out. Either way, you're not here to hear about that. You're here to watch Christian, air surfing towards you. So let's get going with the one last match 2K showcase.
Every single morning, I look myself in the mirror and I ask myself the question.
Why did they nickname me Creepy Little Bastard?
When Edge and I were growing up, we'd often be like, when we're finished school,
We'd often have bad red eye.
We really need to train to learn how to become wrestlers, and then we're going to hit the road, and then we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and eventually we'll become tag team champions.
Edge and Christian are the new tag team champions.
And then you got jealous of the King of the Ring trophy and hit him on the head. I got the best theme music ever, but then they took it away.
We had it all mapped out, but crazy enough, they pretty much all came true.
Did you map out your heel turn against him?
Over the top rope battle royal. One of these men will go on to Extreme Rules to face Alberto Del Rio in a ladder match for the vacant World Championship.
Who's Alberto rooting for here?
Del Rio anticipate who's going to win this match.
And Mysterio.
We're going straight to ring intros here? Yeah, I guess we are. So I guess this is the Christian story. Well, that's pretty cool. I like the idea of having the Christian storyline. I loved Edge, I loved Christian. I love Edge and Christian together better than either part, but
Following is a ladder match
And it is for
It's always
the
good stuff.
World Heavyweight Championship.
Alberto Del Rio is pretty fucking
Let me
awesome
first
too.
introduce Alberto Del Rio's personal ring announcer, Ricardo.
Cool, Ricardo gets to be in this game too. They've both been fired since this time.
Les presento al hombre que ganará su título otra vez, al orgullo de México, el patrón. Él es Alberto Del Rio.
This is so exciting to me, the fact that Alberto Del Rio is part
So
of
exciting to me that we're doing all these storylines where everybody involved in the storylines has been fired.
Miami. What a celebration.
Well, Alberto Del Rio
So
claims
Alberto
it's
Del
his
Rio, folks, I'm
destiny
just going to talk
to
over
be the
Lawler
world
and King
champion.
because,
He says his destiny
or Lawler
can't
and
be
Cole,
stopped.
because they will be talking
Delayed.
throughout the entire LP. I can't really pick my spots too much here, other than like at times like this. But in just a moment, Christian will get introduced and they'll be talking again. Alberto Del Rio apparently got fired from WWE because backstage somebody like mouthed off to him and said, "This is what I heard." Said some racist anti-Latin shit, and Alberto like pie-faced the guy, and Del Rio got fired for being unprofessional. But it's kind of like, you know, if it was in a movie, Alberto Del Rio would totally be the good guy in this situation.
To be world champion. It's like he's talked himself into a corner that he has to win.
Man,
the
Christian
world
looks
heavyweight
hungover.
title.
You know, Christian's made a career out
Looks
of
like he hasn't
winning
shaved,
If anyone can
which
get
I guess
the job done,
Christian
it's
kind of, his look near the end of his career was this kind of, he had this like sort of vague, thinnish beard going. I guess his beard looks fuller in this character model than it, I don't know. Either way, it just kind of looks, I just have this impression that he's just kind of like hungover. Oddly enough, the last time I can remember a character in a video game or video wrestling game who looked really hungover to me, it was the Rumble Roses Double X redesign of Miss Spencer. She was like, you know, the hot for teacher, and she looked, you know, like PS2 level graphics. They all look pretty smoking hot in Rumble Roses. Rumble Roses Double X, for whatever reason, they retouched Miss Spencer's face and she just looks hungover. And now I'm picturing like Christian and Miss Spencer, like, you know, they went out drinking last night. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting to play as Christian, but and if this is like the title of it, One Last Match, makes it sound like it's the Christian storyline, because the last year or so of his career, they played up the fact that his career was probably winding down, and it was like, you know, one last shot at glory for Christian. But he is going to be losing to Randy Orton a lot in this storyline.
It's tough to deny that when Alberto Del Rio walked down.
Let's take a look at his moves. I mean, I'm sure his finisher, I guess they stopped calling it the Unprettier, and it's called like the Kill Switch or something. Yeah, it's okay, Kill Switch. Unprettier, much cooler name. And I remember Bobo and I playing earlier WWE games, and I would play as Edge and he would play as Christian, and like in those games, the tactics for hitting a finisher where you had to be behind the guy in days, there were some situations where it was just fucking possible to get the Unprettier to work because the guy would recover before you got behind him. And in other situations, it was the other way around, like Christian had a massive advantage. I guess the spear is a finisher for him. I don't remember having seen a lot of Christian using the spear, because this year, all the 2K Showcase storylines are based on, like, I think it's like roughly 2012, 2013, where I wasn't watching at all. But Christian is not the guy who has the kind of build where I would think his spear looks all that devastating. But, you know, I really like Christian, so I don't want to pick on Christian. Christian's, like, he's one of the guys who comes across, like, he was a big wrestling fan growing up, and, you know, you would probably sit down, like, if you won a contest, hang out with a WWE superstar, like, he would sit down and watch the WWE Network for you for a couple hours over beer, and it would be fun. Del Rio, he's got, like, it's kind of crazy. I saw kind of the tail end of his WWE run. He was completely dead, no crowd reaction, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy. Nobody seemed to care. Not sure exactly what happened with him, because he was one of the best in-ring guys. Like, he put on fun-to-watch matches, but nobody ever seemed to care whether he won or lost. And I think it's because he had been a former world champion and had been, like, demoted down the card to the point where nobody gave a crap about him. He was also very odd because he has his finishing holds were all arm submission holds, which is really cool. It reminded me a lot of William Regal back in the day. Not that his stuff was like always arm based, but he would like work people's arm in a match, which you didn't see that much anymore. And in WWE video games, usually they have some system where torso, arms, legs, and head are separate things, and there's not that many moves focused in on the arm. So the odd sidebar of this is that he would be a guy who I would imagine in the video game world is a pain in the ass to win with, because his finishers all involve softening up a guy's arm, and there's not that many ways to do that other than the limb targeting system where you have an opponent down and you just stomp them in the arm, creating the most boring matches ever. But anyway, hanging overhead kick, it's just a regular old move. When the guy's standing, you do it. Reverse DDT, I guess when you're behind him. Spear, corner versus grounded opponent, okay. And kill switch standing behind, so.
The aisle, he exuded confidence. It's like he's poised and ready to be world champion.
The first man to climb the ladder is the winner. We are guaranteed to have a new world champion.
Oh, is this a ladder? Is this a ladder match? I wasn't paying anywhere near enough attention earlier, so I'm glad I caught that little tidbit from Cole. But I'm just supposed to be damaging him at this point.
For a flying forearm. When you think about all of the experience and success,
so what I want to do is, oh nice.
Not to think
that move.
he has the advantage here, Cole.
Well, Christian's history with the ladder match dates back to the year.
Basically want to work over the head here because that's what I'm going to damage with the unpretty ring, or the, excuse me, the kill switch. Kill switch. Angry. Something that Josh Matthews used to say. Many years ago, back when WWE Velocity was like my favorite show on TV. 1 hour of like ridiculous SmackDown jobber matches being called by like some combination of Josh Matthews, Michael Cole, and Taz. They were advertising a game called Kill Switch for, I guess, PS2 probably. And Josh Matthews said something like, "Remember a kill switch? It's just like, it's like violent. It's like kill switch, angry." I don't know why I like Josh Matthews so much. I think I liked Josh Matthews back in the day. Now that he's like, because he was just goofing off on commentary more than anything else. Because nobody cared about Velocity. So they could just kind of have fun with it. I am losing, and I'm losing badly. I'm kind of surprised.
In their own right, but the world title has eluded them until now.
Just think about all the men enshrined in the WWE Hall of Fame.
All the men in Shriners costumes. How? I'm not sure why I'm losing so badly. Ow. I got less stamina. I've taken more damage.
And then climb that ladder.
It takes a different mentality to compete in a ladder match, and we're seeing that right now.
Getting reversed all over the place.
Yeah, Alberto has so many
I guess I was spoiled by using the awesomely powerful Mark Henry.
Poor Christian.
You get the feeling Christian's setting up Alberto Del Rio for something big.
Well, you know, Cole,
or maybe I'm just trying to figure out what my moves are.
For the opportunity to be the best in
That's
the business.
a cool move, and it hit the head.
He
doesn't. Oh, maybe it's because it's a ladder match. There's no submissions. I don't seem to be using any submission holds. Try to use the try to grapple with the legs for a submission. If that doesn't work either, and I'm going to assume that there's something special going on. Ooh, nice. I like that.
Edge is not far behind, and for Del Rio, Ricardo Rodriguez and Brodus Clay could certainly make their presence felt.
Brodus Clay is part of this storyline? Oh, okay, so yeah, apparently there's no submissions in the ladder match. So set up a ladder in the ring. Can do. First, I need to hit my. I want to lock down a finisher.
His opportunity could be right now.
Now that is one of his regular spots.
His body has to be broken right now.
So how do you? No. I can't remember how to search for a ladder under the ring.
What's he gonna find?
Oh, it's a chair.
Let me remind everybody, there are no countouts.
It's no DQ, so chair will work. To do a little damage.
Not another chair shot. Oh no, Cole.
And I bloodied him. I can take him down too.
Before this one's over. Things are about to get ugly. He needs to dig way down deep if he wants to keep going now. Back into the ring now.
Okay, so I want to set this ladder up.
This is a no disqualification match.
Okay, set up a ladder in the ring. Now grapple Alberto Del Rio. who, understandably, is a little upset and wants to bring a little plunder into the ring. I mean, I bloodied him with a chair, so he's got reasons to be annoyed.
Back inside the ring. And look at this.
Now, I don't know if this is going to be good for me or not. Probably not.
Christian is just about got him, but look out. Oh,
Yeah, they often tell you grapple an opponent, and it's to set up a cinematic where you get your butt kicked. Good time for a little sip of tea here. It's very civilized Let's Play.
I think he's gonna win the title here. Christian's down and out, and Del Rio's gonna climb and grab the gold. Yeah, but Del Rio's taking a
Fans chanting for Edge because, you know, Christian being a good guy needs to cheat.
Dangling high above the ring. Get up there. Fingertips away from the championship.
But Big Daddy Cool Diesel's returning. Oh, no. Edge is out dressed as a construction worker or something. I've heard of the distraction roll-up. This is the distraction ladder nudge. So do I win here now or what? Come on, Christian, return to manual control. Okay, I am supposed to win at this point. There you go, I unlocked Christian. That's good. That'll make it easier to play as him for the rest of this story mode. Edge is like, oh, I honked. Honk if you love Christian. The world's heavyweight champion and one of the world's most popular religions. Christian. Well, Christian is a really new religion, but.
Is Christian, for the first time in his career, is world champion. And you know what? Look at that. His best friend Edge could not be prouder. Christian breaking down in tears. Edge and Christian. They came up
no longer are we pretending they're brothers, but we're still pretending their names are Edge and Christian.
Edge forced into an early retirement, celebrating once again, this time through his friend.
So this was kind of a weird twist to all this, is that Christian was a really good performer. And, you know, he's pretty much retired now, apparently. Not a lot of fanfare, but kind of quietly shuffled off. You never know when he might come back for a special match or two. But when Edge got retired, when he was still very popular, and he got retired by an injury, and they kind of Christian got a world title run, the world heavyweight title, not the WWE title, big difference. He got a world heavyweight title run. It's kind of a simple, like they were going to take advantage of the fan support, you know, kind of like Chavo Guerrero got to win a bunch of matches after the death of Eddie Guerrero. I know it sounds pretty dark to mention it, but it's true. They milked that a little bit. So Christian got the world title, and what I've always heard from people who were watching at the time is he was more popular than the WWE brass thought he would be, but they still just never really gave him a chance to be a tough guy. As you can see, he's a few inches shorter than Edge. That's working against him. I don't know why I'm being all smarky here, though. Big fan of Christian. Big ups. Never understood the creepy little bastard nickname. Especially not after he got rid of that weird mesh t-shirt. That was pretty creepy. Yes! Happy! Yes!
Again, Christian, the new world heavyweight champion.
You know, I did have fun there because I got to pull out a chair and just beat the shit out of Alberto Del Rio and his manager, and they never really got to come back from that. One of my peeps. Marshmallow peeps. So yeah, not a bad start to this whole thing, but I think we can get in another match before we call it a video. After many years of hard work, Christian finally achieved his lifelong dream of winning the World Heavyweight title. Only fitting that he was able to win it with his best friend and former tag team partner, Edge, at ringside. And his truck, with its horn. On the following SmackDown, Christian is pushed by the SmackDown GM, who will remain nameless for some reason, in defending the World Heavyweight title against the Viper, Randy Orton. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this is the other thing that pissed people off. This big deal of having Christian finally win the title. Christian accepts a challenge from Randy Orton and a main event set for the World Heavyweight title that same night. You will note who I play as in the next match. This is one of those things. It's a sport where the results are predetermined, giving fans unparalleled ability to bitch about who won and who lost. And one of the all-time big, oh, come the fuck on moments was the fact that Christian won the title at pay-per-view. SmackDown was less than a week after that pay-per-view. I mean, it was recorded even earlier than it aired. And after the lifelong dream of Christian's achieved, how long would he get to run with that title? I hear a voice in my head telling me that it's going to depend on whether or not I can win this match, in which I'm going to play as Randy Orton.
Randy Orton is a former World Heavyweight Champion and youngest to stake claim to the crown. You can bet since he was voted
Stake claim to the clown? Be down with the clown until he's down on the ground.
On regaining the World Heavyweight Championship.
And also, as anyone who watches too many Vines on YouTube knows, he loves to hang around skate parks and give kids the RKO as they miss their stuff. Randy Orton is very much one of those absence makes the heart grow fonder stars. If he's gone for a while, I'm always pretty excited to see him come back. Because, I mean, it's undeniable that in-ring he's got charisma. I mean, nobody, like, sits there and teases that they're about to hit their finisher better than Randy Orton, who basically goes apoplectic with, like, insane, sadistic glee when he's going to give somebody the RKO. At the same time, a couple of months worth of Randy Orton is the guy who the authority supports, and his opponent must win handicap match after handicap match, and then Orton comes and picks over the bones. That gets old, and they just beat that storyline to death. He also has as a secondary finisher this crazy-looking backbreaker move that I always like to call the RKB, for Randy's kooky backbreaker. I mean, Christian does come out second because he's the defending champion, which is appropriate, but
Christian's coming off one of the greatest moments of his life, winning the World Heavyweight title. Now his first.
I mean, the guy's married. I believe he has kids. I don't know if the World Heavyweight title is the best moment in his life. Maybe. I wouldn't say that in front of his wife, anyway.
We're going to see if Christian's ready.
Ready to find out what happens when the fans push you into a title shot and Vince McMahon doesn't actually believe in you. I just sound so smarky. This is all stuff I've heard people say. I wasn't watching when it happened. Sounds like the kind of thing they do, though. I hope Christian gets a couple of good wins. I mean, if that Alberto Del Rio thing was the only big win that Christian gets in this story mode, I'll be upset. But I'm still, the notion that Christian, of all people, gets its own story mode, I'm way more into this than I am Mark Henry. Let's put it that way. I mean, Christian once said, fruity umbrella drinks get the party started right. Which, by itself, is better than, like, all Mark Henry promos put together. Unless it was Edge who said the line about the umbrella drinks. I'm not sure. Christian was the one who played kazoo while Edge would sing, like, other people's theme lyrics. I mean, Edge and Christian were just unspeakably awesome. Up until the point where they split. Every time they've tried to bring them back together for, like, a nostalgia thing, it always kind of sucks. But go back and watch Edge and Christian from the day. Just good stuff. I'm just like foaming at the mouth, marking out now. Christian also had, when he very first turned heel, he had the best theme music ever, but it only lasted for like a month.
And it is for the World Heavyweight Championship. In the ring from St. Louis, Missouri, weighing in at 245 pounds, the Viper, Randy Orton.
He's come to fight the Vindos.
And from Toronto, Canada, weighing in at 227 pounds, he is the World Heavyweight Champion, Christian.
Some have questioned why Teddy Long would make this match and that it's too soon.
Why do they keep calling him the SmackDown General Manager in the on-screen narration, and then they call him Teddy Long in the voiceover stuff? Like, are they acknowledging that it's Teddy Long or not?
Swirling around Captain Charisma in his World Heavyweight title.
I got a match for you tonight, player, and it is gonna be with The Undertaker. So defeat Christian by pinfall. There you go. Even his clotheslines involve crazy-ass posing afterwards. There's no button I'm pressing to make him pose like that I can do with other characters.
As World Heavyweight Champion, it's too close to call.
Oh, that time I didn't connect with it right, so I wasn't able to do the full-fledged freak out.
A bit of a test of strength here.
Oh yeah, I don't think we showcased this in the previous video. The chain grappling mechanics. Both guys grapple at the same time. You get this stupid little mini game.
A ferocious
It just does absolutely nothing to replicate what chain wrestling would be about, but still.
Ouch.
Orton's fun to play as too, I have to admit. Anyway, let's check out Orton's moves real quick. He's got the RKO 3, because apparently there's at least 3 versions of the RKO in this game. The punt kick. He's got the Orton stomp and the spike DDT. That's... Huh. That means that you can't do the Randy's kooky backbreaker, or rather, it's probably just a regular grapple that, unless I stumble across it, you're not going to get to see it. That's too bad. The Randy Orton stomp, better known as the Orton stomp, is really the Garden stomp. Punt kick he doesn't even get to use anymore because it's not very PG. It really looks like you fucking caved somebody's head in by kicking them in the head. You know, yeah. We already saw Christian's stuff, of course. What was I going to say about Randy? Just while I'm thinking about it, some of my fondest Randy Orton memories are from when he was a bad guy feuding with The Undertaker. He was a kind of quasi-good guy tweener who was supposed to be dating Stacy Keibler, who was totally a good guy. Good girl, I suppose. Good lady. And he cut a promo where he gave Stacy a kiss and then gave her the RKO, like out of nowhere. RKO out of nowhere! And like got some pretty serious heel heat for that. It's the kind of thing that they could not do on the show today when they've gone back to being like family-friendly PG, selling toys at Target. But back in the day when they were still doing like the PG-13 R-rated kind of content, yeah, he gave his finisher to a woman right after kissing her and telling her, you know, how special she was to him. And the whole point was to say, if I'm willing to do that to a girl, imagine what I'll do to The Undertaker. And he answers, of course, what he did to The Undertaker was get beaten, but, you know, still. And it was a lot of fun. I think it was a later feud with The Undertaker where his father, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., Ace Cowboy, was around. And they were doing all these things where The Undertaker was using dark power to play mind games with Randy Orton and get into his head, which included like a scene where Randy Orton is like, you know, they're showing Randy Orton in the bathroom at a sink, and he looks into the mirror and he sees an image of The Undertaker in the reflection, and he turns around and no one's there, and it's like, ooh, The Undertaker's dark powers, ooh. But there was one in particular where there was also a fucking awesome one where Josh Matthews goes up to him and tries to ask him a question, like, you know, the backstage interviewer Josh Matthews asks him a question, and then Josh Matthews has to like starts shaking around and just rolls his eyes in the back of his head, and the voiceover of The Undertaker comes on and says, like, Randy. And Josh Matthews is trying to lip sync with the voiceover of The Undertaker, saying, Randy, you will rest in peace, you know, whatever the hell. And it's like The Undertaker possessed Josh Matthews. Yeah, when I said they had PG-13 R-rated content, I don't necessarily mean it was good, just that it was more violent than what they can show now. But my very favorite Randy Orton memory, just to shoot my Randy Orton load here before the very first video of this thing, had to be the time, and it was part of that same feud with The Undertaker, the same build-up, probably the week before, maybe the week after Undertaker appeared in the mirror, maybe the week before Josh Matthews was possessed by The Undertaker. We have Randy Orton goes up to his dad, and his dad's got the rental car and the bags packed, and is like, let's get out of here, Randy, before anything bad happens. The Undertaker's really, you know, Undertaker's after us, Randy, let's get out of here now. And then they show this slow zoom in, because SmackDown wasn't live, so they could do a lot more editing. There's this slow camera zoom in of Randy, and he's like wiping his eyes and looking like he can't believe what he sees. And then we cut to this Randy Orton POV shot of his dad, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., and he's covered in fake blood, and he's like, you know, just like twitching and gibbering around. So years later, Bobo and I like talking about this thing, and for some reason, when Randy Orton looks all confused, I, as Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., say, "What's the matter, Randy? Am I all bloody and gibbery?" And Bobo, as Randy Orton rather, says, "Funny you should mention that, Dad." The joke being that I thought it would be funny to make Bob Orton ask his son Randy, "Are you okay? Am I bloody and gibbery in your eyes?" Whereas Bobo's like, how the hell would Bob Orton know that Randy Orton's elucidating that specific thing? I don't know. It's also go back and like YouTube search Undertaker gets in head of Randy Orton and just... I've never been able to find the one with Bob Orton being covered in fake blood before, but Josh Matthews being possessed by The Undertaker's dark power, you can find that one on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious. Sometimes wrestling is best when it's treated like a real sport and it's all very serious. Other times, you just gotta have The Undertaker possess commentators and make them the puppets of his dark will. It's the only way to do it. Oh, you know what? I need to actually check how long is this video. I hate to have only one match in this video, but I've been talking for a long time. And it actually is time to call it, so I'm sorry, folks. But when we come back, Randy Orton will finish beating up Christian. Sadly, I don't think this 2K showcase is going to feature The Undertaker using his dark powers against Randy Orton, but I'm hoping it'll be worth watching anyway. I'm the Mysterious JG. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.